It's called Mark My Words. And my special guest is Michael Williams.
Hello.
Everybody get up for Michael, everybody. Yay! Okay, so the first topic is going to be about today's topic is going to be about financials and money and relations to money. So, um, we're gonna be a little bit messy today because we're trying to figure it out as we go. Um, but we'll just jump right into it basically. So, Michael, my question for you is: are you a spender or are you a saver?
I'm most definitely a spender. Yeah.
Hmm. Why is that?
Uh, because it's just
Hmm.
like I always had problems with, once I get money, I feel
Hmm.
like I have to spend it. And I found that it could be a very serious bad issue in my life,
When did you
causing
find
me
this out?
problems.
When did you
Huh?
find this out?
I'm very self-aware about myself. So yeah.
Mm. So when did you first realize I'm a spender, not a saver?
You said what?
When did you first realize that, like, oh, I'm a spender, not a saver?
I first realized that I was a spender, not a saver, when I had like every time I used to get my paycheck, like I
Hmm.
used to spend it in less than like 3 days, and I realized that was like really bad.
Yeah, you got it bad. You got it
Yeah,
bad. 3 days is crazy. Three
yeah,
days
about
is
3 days,
crazy,
and
Michael.
then I'd be needing more money, and then I have to go around asking.
For money.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you getting into the real today? Okay, cool. So how do you feel about money as relations to like friends and family? Do you believe in like what's mine is yours, what's yours is mine, or do you believe in, distributing money or not doing money business with like families and friends?
It most definitely depends on the situation.
Hmm. How much money would you loan to a friend at one time?
What money I would loan?
Hmm.
I would loan, I'm a very generous person. I would loan anything. If my friend needs help with something and I have it during the time, I
See,
would
so
loan
see,
it.
this is I think is where we disagree, because you'll loan anything that you have, like all of it.
No, I wouldn't loan all of it. I would most definitely loan like probably like at the most, probably like 100, 200.
So if your friend needs $100, your friend got a flat tire, and they need to borrow $100, and they ask you for it, and you go to your bank account, and it's your last $100. What do you do?
I would most definitely like give my last, and expect something in return, respect them to pay me back in return. I'm
You
just,
will give your
oh, that's
last
just
hundred
me. That's
dollars.
just that's my character.
You're not never supposed to give nobody your last. You're not never supposed to give nobody your last. I feel like, because think about it. If your friend needs $100, right, and if you and you have $100, and that's your last $100, no more, and your savings nothing, you're gonna give them everything that you got, and then when you need something, you're not gonna have nothing because you gave them every single dime you had. It's one thing to give them 50, it's one thing to give them 25, to give them 30, but to give somebody your whole $100 and they need $100 and you're gonna give them your whole $100, I feel like that's not smart. That's not a smart money making decision. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to never give
Yeah, I
nobody
can
like
see
your
that.
last. If you have four, if you supposed to, the saying goes, if you don't have double of what you're giving, then you shouldn't give it. And the way I look at it
True.
is, I think I told you this before. When I loan somebody something, I don't really expect it back in return. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like once you give somebody something, you gotta like make your peace with it and move on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
you don't want to spend time. I don't like spending time waiting on like, where's my $50? Where my $40? Like, you told me you was gonna pay my money back. Like, where's my money? Where's my money? Doing all that, running you around and trying to find you. And I'd rather just say, okay, you need $40. Here's $40. I gave you the $40. It is what it is. You may say you're gonna pay me back, and if the person is a good person, they of course they're gonna say they're gonna pay you back. But in
Right.
my mind, I'm like, I already made peace with it. Like, I don't expect you to pay me back. If you do, if you do, if you don't, you don't. I gave you the $40. It's out of my hands. It's in God's hands now. I don't have time to be like, hey, where's my 40? Hey, that's just how I personally am. Um, even when people be like, I'll pay you back, I just be like, here, like, you know, like there's no point in. I don't try to. I don't give out loans. Like you can't give out loans to friends and family. Maybe if it's somebody that you don't know that well, but I feel like with friends and family, like that money is like the number one issue why people have issues, why they fall out, why things happen, why there's conflict with people. So I feel like you got to be very careful also of who you give money to because money is literally everything. It's not everything, but it's how you get around. It's how you buy what you need. It's how you get upright into society. It contributes to what you wear, how you dress, where you go, who you see. So you got to be very careful with who you give your money to and how much
Right.
of your money
Mhm.
that you're giving to people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't
I
think you
agree.
should give anyone your last. Like, and if anybody's a true friend, they don't want you to give your last $100.
Right.
To service them, even if that's the exact amount they need. You know what I'm saying? Maybe your
Yeah, I get what you're
parents or
saying.
something. But I don't know. I would never give somebody my last $100 except for my mother. You know, if
Mm,
you needed 50, if I had $100 and you needed $100, you gonna have to come up with something. I mean, I may give you 40. You gonna have to come up with another 40 from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And another whatever the
right.
rest of the half is. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I think I have
okay.
another question
So
for
before you
you.
go to the next question,
Uh huh.
do I look pixel to you?
Oh my God. No,
What
I
the
don't
hell is
even.
going on with this camera?
I don't even see you like that for real.
Oh, you see yourself because you're on a big screen.
No, I see you as well.
Wh- Okay.
I
Let's
see you,
continue.
but I don't. Okay. So, uh, so what's the largest amount of money that you've ever given a friend?
The largest amount probably was like 250.
250.
No, no. Are you saying like I ever loaned, or are you saying like I ever spent on a friend?
Loaned to a friend.
Loans? Yeah, 250.
250. Not bad. Not bad. That's not bad. Did they pay you back? What happened?
They did.
When?
I
When you
didn't ask
wanted them
for
to
it.
or on their own time?
Huh?
When you wanted them to or on their own time?
It was on their own time. It wasn't no time limit to it.
Okay.
But they paid it back because, we had a good friendship.
Good, good. So when someone asks you, do you feel like it's always necessary to loan a friend money? Can you say no if necessary?
So If I have I ever somebody asked me for money and I said no?
Hmm. Can you say no when necessary?
Yeah. If I can say no, if I don't have it, I can say no. Because
Give me a time.
so there
Give
was
me a
a like
time you
if
told
I don't
somebody no.
so when like the other day when I went to the gas station, um there's always homeless people hanging around the gas station. And the guy had asked me for money. He was like, "Oh, can you go in there and get me something?" And me, I was about broke. I was broke.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I was going in there to get was just a drink because that's all I had enough for. And he was like, "Oh, can you get me something? Get me like some trash bags or something." And I said, I don't think I have enough for trash bags. But I said,
Mm-hmm.
if I have enough, I would see. But if I don't, then I just don't. I don't have it. And
Mm-hmm.
I came out with I couldn't afford a trash bag, so I just came out with my drink. And so I didn't technically tell him no. I just told him I will see what I can do. If I can't, then I can't. If I can, I can.
Okay.
I'm more of a person that believe like more of you give, you receive. Like you give blessings, you receive blessings.
Mm.
So, like I said, if I have some time, I'm not gonna sit in front of a person and tell them no because I just never been that way. I mean, um, nobody never did me that. Don't well, some people probably have, but the people that have actually helped me in my life, they never did me like that. They never actually said no. They gave when they gave, whatever they had, they gave when they could. And I'm the same way. I give when I could. I kind of treat people the way I would love to be treated. So I don't really say no. I just
Mm-hmm.
tell them if I have it in the moment, I will give. But if I don't have it, I just tell them I'm sorry, I can't. I don't have enough.
Okay, good. So, do you think that money is the root to all evil?
Money is the root of all evil. I mean,
Mm.
look at today. Like today, you have a president
Mhm.
that's in our office that basically paid his way in. So of course, money is the root of all evil.
Oh, we taking it
He's
there.
supposed to be in jail right now, but the type of money that he has is actually stopping him. And the power that he has is
Mhm.
stopping people from actually like doing what they said it was going to do. There's so many charges on this man, but I'm not going to get into too much detail about that because I don't want to offend anyone. If you support him, then that's you. But yeah,
Well, there's a process that that you got to go through. But I see what you're saying about money being the root to all evil. But I think,
yeah, you could pay your way into really anything. Like,
mm,
believe it or not, you really can pay your way into anything. It really is
so what
true.
you're saying is everyone has a price.
Everything has a price.
Mm. So do you think that you can convince a person to do almost anything with the right amount of money?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Mm. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Um, can a person have a lot of money and be a good person? Is that possible?
Can a person have a lot of money and do what?
Can a person be filthy rich and be a good ethical person?
Yes, that's true.
Hmm.
I have met
Okay.
I have met a couple of rich people that are very generous and willing to help out when they can.
Okay.
But you know,
And hmm
with when it comes to you having money and being rich, you don't lend out you don't lend out all the time. When somebody asks you for something, you
hmm
don't really loan all the time. I know a lot of most rich people will say no because people are rich because they know how to save. It's really all about saving and investing, if anything.
Mm.
So, but there are a couple of rich people that will sit out here and do charity donations and just donate to people that are in need. Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, they have to make sure they network stay where they want it to be.
Creating that generational wealth.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a such thing as having too much money, like Elon Musk, where it becomes
No.
like gatekeeping? You don't feel like there's a power imbalance in the world where someone is able to have $300 billion, and then there are people that are homeless on the streets? You don't think that that's sort of at fault of the person gatekeeping all of this money and generational wealth just for their bloodline? Or do you think that it's more so if they worked for it, they did it, or do you think that there is a
Yeah.
responsibility there to
I believe it's
redistribute the
more
wealth?
of
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's more of, they work for it. And I mean,
Mm.
some people like really make sacrifices to be where they are to
Mm-hmm.
this day and to make the type of money that they make now. So
Yes,
I feel
yes,
like
but
no,
mm-hmm.
I feel
Let
like
me
no
say
one is,
something. Uh-huh. The person, yes, you know, Bill Gates or whoever may come up with the idea for whatever the invention is that goes on to make them billions of dollars. But essentially, the people who are actually making this dream come true are the people who get up every single day and go to the jobs to help make these billionaires
that's true.
billionaires. Yes, it's not their idea, but they are the workers. They are actually, it's one thing to have an idea, and it's one thing to have the formula. It's another thing to execute the formula. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to, so
So are
my
you
thing
saying,
is, mhm,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but are you saying that rich people
mhm.
should really like share what how they became rich and what they did and everything like that?
Well, I think
Because that,
when you,
the plan is
mhm,
you don't want everybody to be rich.
mm,
No, I mean, I feel like that
well,
would be, well, what?
I think there's a thin line between, being overly generous to the point where it's not sustainable and redistributing wealth. Think about it, Michael. If you have $1 billion, take Elon Musk. I think he has like what 300 or $400 billion net worth. That's more money than you will ever spend in your life. Like it's almost nearly impossible to spend that amount of money. So basically, you're just hoarding all that money in your accounts for no reason. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just money just sitting there. No human being really needs that much money to that point. Especially when you can take that same money and you can redistribute that to the people who get up every day in your companies and these factories and the people that are doing these companies in third world countries who are doing borderline slavery and kind of put that back into those people and also the communities that need it. Because if you have billions of dollars, no, what do you really need with $1 billion? Just think about that. You don't need $1 billion. You know you don't need a billion
But
dollars.
you have to think about this.
Mm-hmm.
I think about it like this. It's their money that they, worked for, and they put a lot of
Mm-hmm.
hard work and investing into to creating it to where it is today.
Mm-hmm.
So even though somebody has $1 billion, they're not necessarily obligated to lend anyone anything
Wow,
because it's
really?
there.
Really?
It's kind of, I mean, even though
Mm-hmm.
even though it would be a super generous thing to help people that are in need, to help somebody get off their feet or something. I mean, get them back on their feet to
Mm-hmm.
start something. It
Mm-hmm.
would be very generous,
Mm-hmm.
but like
It's not an obligation.
It's really up to the individual.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we really can't make choices, even though we can sit around here and talk about rich people all day long and talking about how they need to help out more. In the world, you got all this money that can't help out more. I mean, we could talk about it 24/7. It's not going to change. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they're not going to sit up here and be like, "Oh, you need some money here. Oh, you need help with something here." They have
Mm-hmm.
their own, whatever their reasonings behind it, why they won't be generous. But we got to think about the good rich people that actually do donate. Bill
Mm-hmm.
Gates donate a lot. He donates a lot to charity.
Mm-hmm.
He does. What
I
is you
still
looking
think
at
there's
like
a
that?
bigger issue at large, you know? I'm sure every rich person has a foundation or something they donated to, of course, especially for the press. But I do think that, you know, when you've been given more money than you've ever needed in your life, it becomes, there's just no point. I don't see a point. It's the same thing with, like, we talk about like gluttony and people who are just being greedy, right? In the sense of, you have, how to make this an example? You have one cheeseburger. Okay, cool. You work hard for your cheeseburger. But it's one thing to have 25 cheeseburgers for yourself, and then you go outside and there's people who don't even have half of a cheeseburger you have. It's like, yeah, I worked hard for my cheeseburgers. I put in the time for my cheeseburgers, but I have so much of it. It's almost, it's greedy and kind of selfish
Agreed. I mean,
to
I
even
agree. And
to just have so much of something and then to not redistribute that something. Because think about it, the world had to give you that. The consumers had to give you that. The consumers that you're way richer than, that you swear you don't owe any responsibility to, they are the reason why you have that. The people who invest in these stocks, who buy these products, who buy these cars, who making these companies $1 billion, those are everyday people, or middle class to upper class to lower class people who are benefiting, who are not being benefited from these companies making billions of dollars. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you have so much of something, you I think it does become an obligation to redistribute that, especially with the way the world works, right? Because we can talk about all day what people are responsible for, what they're not responsible for, but at the end of the day, we live in a world where you can be as rich as Elon Musk and you can be as poor as a homeless person in the same country. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, everybody should at least have something. That shouldn't be like a responsibility. That should be just basic human decency. If you were an empathetic person, I feel like you can understand that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should be able to have something. Not all of us are going to be Elon Musk rich or Bill Gates rich. Not all of us are even going to make it to like $1 million. But everybody should be able to
agreed.
live comfortably, in my opinion. But I think my
I
phone is
think
dying. I appreciate this conversation about money and wealth and how do we balance money. And I hope that everybody learned something from this conversation. My name is Sharif Parks. This is my
my name is
podcast.
Michael.
Your name is Michael. My name is Sharif Parks. This is my podcast. Mark my words. Thank you and good night.
All right, bye.